Hey guys, it's Katie. Thank you for checking out this video of mine. I saw this tag. Who did I see it? But I think they said it was created by Mel Thompson. But it is the 2021 Eyeshadow Collection Tag, I think. I'm not sure if it has a specific name, but that's what I'm calling it. And it's only a few prompts, but it was actually hard for me to kind of figure out. I kept moving things around, and then by the end of it, I ended up, because I wanted to choose a different palette for each kind of prompt, and this is almost my entire eyeshadow palette collection, which I feel like isn't bad compared to a lot of people on YouTube. Eyeshadows are just like, I have a lot of crayon things too, which I love. But eyeshadows, I just feel like once I have a certain color story, like I don't look for it in anything else. So I'm at the point where something has to be super eye-catching and unique for me to want to pick it up. The first prompt is an eyeshadow palette that represents me. This was hard because I could have gone so many different ways. I love a deep smoky eye. I love super fun pastel colorful looks, kind of like what I have on today. And I love everything in between. I don't love warm tones. That's one thing that's not me. But I decided to pick out the Colorpop That's Taupe palette just because I have always loved cool tones. I have always loved cool toned taupes and browns specifically. That's what I first started wearing when I started wearing makeup. And I just think it complements, I don't know what, my hair, my skin tone, my eye color, I don't know. But here it is. I'm sure you've seen this over and over. It just, besides this one right here, it really is just your cool tones with your sparkly taupes, especially this in the middle called Snake Eyes. It just is me. And if I had to, I don't know, have an everyday eyeshadow palette, I feel like this one could fit that bill. Okay, the next one is another represents me, but this is, it represents me because of the packaging, and I had to give it to my BH Cosmetics Love in London palette because I not only love traveling, it's like in my DNA, but I love the city of London. I did a study abroad program when I was in college. Absolutely fell in love with the city. This to me, it really does remind me of London. And the names of the eyeshadows remind me of London. Tea, Big Ben, Cheeky, Palace, Duchess, Biscuit, Piccadilly. Those things, it does represent me and my love for exploring new places and new cultures. A palette that represents, I saw in the video I watched, they said one that represents spring, but I'm like, well, we're in the middle of summer. Let's just pick out one that I think represents every season. So one that represents spring is actually the one on my eyes today. There's no denying this, and it is the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. If these don't represent spring to you, these bright, fun pastels, I feel like I don't know what kind of spring you're having. So yeah, what am I to say? This is spring to me. Summer, this again, there was no other palette that fit this bill. The Violet Voss Flamingo palette, because again, do these colors not say fun in the sun? Summer to you? And again, the packaging, all of it. And the names of the shadows are like Pineapple, Lemonade, Popsicle, Tidal Wave, Beach Ball, Oceanfront, Flip Flops, Island, Seashell, Sandals. Perfect. represents fall. I picked out my Nudes of New York palette by Maybelline. One, I feel like New York is a fun fall city, but also, and again, I've said before, I'm not a warm toned, but for some reason, these warm tones don't seem to bother me as much. There are a few like neutral and cool tones in here as well. You can have either your super light neutral shade in a big bold lip, because I feel like that's a fall look, or you can do like your deeper kind of fall smoky eye in like a gloss or a nude lip. I feel like that's fall appropriate as well. But I do feel like fall is one of those seasons where we're like, okay, get out the bold, dark lips. And I do feel like, especially with this upper row, you could just create a very simple eye look in your bold lip. And then winter. Winter, again, I honestly just think of the holidays. And when I think of the holidays, I think of the Sultry palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. I mean, one, it's a neutral to cool toned palette. It has amazing glitters in it, amazing mattes. You can get really smoky with these shades over here. You can lighten it up over here and wear your bold red lip, because I feel like that's a winter thing as well. But yeah, that's my wintertime palette. Now, a palette that represents happy. I feel like as a makeup lover, like all of our palettes represent happy in some way, otherwise we wouldn't have them. But I did pick out the Douce palette by Juvia's Place. I could have put this in multiple places, because there is another one that represents fun, it represents inspiration, and I could have put it in those as well. But this is happy because of its bright colors and very unique color story. I mean, this shimmery green and this purpley pink and this pink here. I mean, look at those. They're so fun. And then you have your super neutral shades down here and your matte shades. It is fun. Oops. It is unique, and it does make me happy when I look at it, because the colors are so bright. The next one is the palette that represents the dark and grungy side of me. I could have put the Sultry palette there as well, but I wanted to pull out my Stila Eyes Are the Window Soul palette. This one I just can't get rid of. These colors are so beautiful, and they do not just this row. Obviously this row is kind of dark and grungy, but even these shades here, even though they're more of mid-tones, they're very easy to build up, and I just feel like I get super beautiful smoky looks out of this that aren't always your typical like gray and black smoky looks or silver and black, but they have kind of these deep neutral shades as well that I'm really looking forward to now creating a smoky look out of this, because I haven't done a smoky look in a long time. I feel like kind of natural makeup has been more in, but I'm really excited to do that. The palette that represents the girly side of me, again, I could have gone with the Flamingo palette, the Douce palette, the Mercury Retrograde palette, but like I said, I wanted to pick a different palette for each prompt, so I went with the Huda New Nudes palette. These shades are kind of all on your mauvey pink side, so I thought that was girly. And then also there's a lot of these really fun shimmer and glitters in here, these different textures that Huda came out with, and I just feel like these are super girly and fun. Okay, 2 more prompts. The palette that represents fun. Again, I said the Douce palette by Juvia's Place, or the Flamingo palette, or the Mercury Retrograde. Any palette to me that has color in it. But I went with my Profusion Wanderlust palette. These have your super pretty jewel toned colors and your purples, your greens, your blues, and I don't really have greens in many other of my palettes. So I thought this could be really fun. You could mix so much together, create so many looks out of this, and I feel like because they're a little bit deeper jewel tones, they would be really fun. And then the last prompt, the palette that represents inspiration, I went with another Juvia's Place palette. This is the Masquerade palette, because you get your colors and your warm tone neutrals. I think the inspiration from this palette comes from the fact that, I don't know, you look at it and I kind of think, okay, how would I make a complete look from this palette? Because these are such jewel toned colors and these are such warm tone neutrals, you know, what of these neutrals would I mix with these colors? What colors would I put together? And because of the amount of shades, there's 16 of them, I just think you could really create an endless amount of looks with this, and that to me is inspiration. Okay, that is this video. Just a short one there, but I haven't seen many people do this tag. I'm looking forward to seeing more videos, but that is almost my whole eyeshadow collection. Thank you for watching this video, guys. I will see you next time.